All right. So getting started with the next phase of Google Drive, I am going to be closing my participant and chat windows. So if I see a chat blinking, I will jump on it. If I don't see it right away, just give me a second and I will get there eventually. So we've all been in Zoom sessions before. I don't think we have to go through all of this. And just as basically a repeat of the other day, if you were in all things Google Drive, we are going to be talking today about Drive and some of the applications within Drive that we can use. So Google Drive, you want to think about Google Drive as a hard drive where you would store all of your files, your folders, your files, your spreadsheets, your photos, your recordings, videos, all of that kind of stuff. Anything you would typically store on your computer. Think about it as an online hard drive. And at school, you have G Suite for Education, likely. I'm assuming if you're in this session, you have G Suite for Education. So that gives you unlimited storage, just being part of that G Suite organization with your district. So you don't really have to worry about, files being too large. It's a great place to be able to upload videos and movies that students are doing and not have to worry about that storage space. And same on the other hand, if you are recording lessons or you're recording science experiments or tutorials for your students, Google Drive, great place to house them so you don't have to, again, worry about the storage space. And the great thing about Drive is that when you're working in any of these things inside of Drive, docs, slides, spreadsheets, any of those things, it's automatically saving. So you don't have to hit that save button. You don't have to remember to do that. And it automatically makes those changes anytime you edit any of those things. And you can access them anywhere. So Google Drive, to get to Google Drive, you would go to drive.google.com. And you're going to log in with your school district Google credentials, whatever they may be. They're going to be different in different districts. In my case, at the intermediate unit, we log in with our IU email address and our IU network password. So that's individual to each person. And that will get me to my Google Drive. However that is in your district, that's how you'll get to your Google Drive. And make sure that you're in your school district instance of Drive. So you're going to be able to store all your own folders. And again, they're going to be stored in the cloud because that's Google Drive. It allows you to have that access no matter where you are. I was in, honestly, many, many years ago, I was in France and I was able to access my Google Drive because I can be anywhere. So I had some things I had to do for work while I was there. I was able to get to my Drive and be able to do those things. You're going to be able to create, organize, and save all of your files and folders. You're going to be able to share them with other people, whether they be colleagues, people on your team, your grade level team, or your content level team, or your content area team, whether it be with students, or you're going to share things with parents. You can do all of that using everything that we're going to look at in Drive. And you're going to sync and store and access those files anywhere, as I said. So in the Google Docs suite, you're going to be able to create new files and they'll be stored in the cloud. Things like Docs, which is a word processor. Google Docs is a word processor, and we're going to equate that to Microsoft Word. Sheets, that's our spreadsheets application in Google Drive, in the Google Docs suite. We are going to equate that to Microsoft Excel. Slides, there are slide decks and presentations. So what I'm using right now is a Google slide deck that you're viewing at this point. It's a Google presentation, and kind of some of the lingo is we just say slide decks. So we're going to equate that to PowerPoint. And then we have Forms, which is a really awesome tool inside of Google Suite. And if you've taken any of these classes, these online trainings that we've done during this, this quarantine situation, you have filled out an exit ticket so that you can receive your Act 48 credit for attending. That is done with a Google form. So Google Forms will allow you to do all kinds of things, online surveys and quizzes. You can gather information. So really a powerful tool. And then there's Google Drawings. And a lot of people, this is not something that a lot of people use. It's going to be very specific to some of the things that you might do. So it's to do graphics and images. Right down here, there's a link in this slide deck that is, it's going to go to creating files in Google Docs, or in Google Suite, I should say, G Suite. So really it's going to show you how to do document spreadsheets, presentations, and forms. So if you need kind of a refresher on something, you can get to it by going to this, this link down the bottom here. Okay. Whoop, sorry about that. So we are going to, I'm going to escape out of this for a moment. And we are going to go to Google Drive. And I'm going to pause for a moment. Does anyone have any questions up to this point after that, just that brief introduction? If so, just drop it in the chat. No? Okay, so if not, we'll go moving forward. So I'm going to actually, we're going to kind of just go through some of the, we're going to go through the applications that are available for us in Google Drive. We're going to start with Docs. So when you go to your new folder, you have all these options here. We're going to go with Google Docs, and you're going to see that there's these little arrows right next to whatever application you're choosing. And if I roll my mouse over that arrow, I get two options, a blank document or a document from template. We're going to go with a blank document. And when I open a blank document, this is what I get. And in this blank document, you'll see I have my toolbar across the top. I have my title. So I click in here to add my title. If you don't add a title to this document, when you are typing your first line in the document itself, it is going to then make that the title of the document. So you might want to just be a little cautious of that. You might want to title that document right away. So let's say this is lesson 1, period 2, whatever it might be, whatever you want to name that document. Okay. And when I'm in my document, I'm of course typing anything I want. I can copy and paste from something else and dump it in here. This is going to act just like any word processing application you're used to, whether it be Microsoft Word, whether it be, whatever, anything you're used to using, you're going to use this in the same way. Now, across the top, you're going to see all of your menu items, your file, edit, and so on. I want to point out in the file area, when you come down here, there is a download button. So once I have this document complete, created, I'm done with it, whatever, I can go over here and I can download this document into a PDF file. I'm not going to address all of these, but I just want you to know that I can download it into a PDF or into a Microsoft Word document. So just note that you can do that here in any of the applications we're going to look at today. Okay. Now, one of the other things that's great in Google Drive is it allows you to look at what's called the version history. And the version history is something that really could be beneficial for you, especially when working with students. That version history, sorry about that. That version history will allow me to kind of go back in time. So let's say, for example, I have multiple students working on a project. So I've assigned a small group. Maybe I have 4 students working on a project. Each of those students has a role in that project, and they are to be contributing and collaborating equally. I may want to go back, especially in this situation that we're in now. We are now working remotely, all of us. Our students are also working remotely. So this allows me to maybe assign something to my students in small groups. So let's say that group of 4, they're all over, but they're all accessing that same document to contribute their part. I can then go back to the version history of that document, and I can see who did what when. So to show you what that looks like, I'm actually going to go and grab something that is a collaborative document. Let's see. So you can see what that looks like. I'm actually going to open a spreadsheet, but it doesn't matter. It works the same way. But I know this one has multiple versions. So if I go to see version history, it's coming, it's coming. You're going to see this one has a lot of editing. So this one's going to be a little crazy. So I can look over here and I can see the different edits that have been done and who did them. So what you would see is your students' names and what they did. And I can click on any of these and go and look at that version. So you'll see these edits are going all the way back to the beginning when it was created. It was created on March 25th. And I can go in here and I can say, I want to look at the version I want to look at this version right here. So if you watch my screen over here, you're going to see a change. I want to look at this version. Okay, and now I can see this version and I can restore that if I choose. Okay, so you're going to be able to see different versions of it, and it's a little difficult in this because we're looking at a spreadsheet, but you're going to see in a document the colors that are associated with the person are going to be kind of lit up. So you're going to see who did what. Does anybody have questions about that? It's something I know, we can't do in our typical word processing applications, but it's something that's really nice inside of G Suite. No questions? Okay. I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to look at some of the other things that are available down here. Move this out of the way here. Oh, I see a question. Do I see a question popping up? Is correct. Okay, so the question is the version history for everyone to see or only someone that's been assigned as an admin? The version history is there for anybody who has editing rights to the document. Does that answer your question, Bethany? Okay. So if I go down here in my, continue on in my file, I can go to language. So I can change the language in my document. So this becomes a great tool for something that I might have to translate for a student or a parent, or something that, you know, if I'm a world language teacher. But what if I have to do a very quick translation, again, especially in the situation we're in? What if I have to do a very quick translation of maybe a letter that I'm sending home that I want parents to see or guardians to see? And I need to translate that so that I know that, you know, Johnny's mom can only read in Spanish. So then I can go and I can translate my document. Okay, so that's a really nice tool to have, that language tool. So they're just some of the things that are available under file. And I'm going to go through these only because I think it's important, because there are things that are available in G Suite that are not available in the typical word processing programs that we are used to using. Not everything, but there are some things that are definitely different. So here's one of the great things about G Suite as well. If I want to go to insert an image, I'm going to pause for a moment. I have a question. The question is, in my experience, how accurate are the translations? I've heard from people, and I can't say this because I haven't personally experienced it, because I don't really have, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I do use Google Translations. I have family in Italy, and I do use Google Translations to translate emails back and forth with them. And, you know, it's not, for me, it's like when I'm getting from Italian to English, I want to translate theirs into English. You know, sometimes it's a little choppy, but I can figure it out and understand what the meaning is. I have heard from other people that, especially the Spanish translation is typically pretty good, but I can't say that for certain. Does anyone else on this session have experience with using Google Translation and its accuracy?
I've used it in my classroom, and I use it for Spanish most often, and it depends what type of Spanish.
That would make sense.
So it's a difficult thing because there's so many different types, but it does do a relatively good job. And I've never had a parent say to me, I don't know what you're trying to say to me.
Right, so they can, while it might not be completely,
they understand the gist of the conversation, or
right.
It
might not be a true translation, but they get the understanding.
Correct.
And I see someone else is saying, yeah, it depends on where the family's from, but they'll be able to understand it. Does that help, Linda?
I just tried it by sending something to my Spanish teacher on the doc, and she said she could translate it, and it was very accurate as far as like basic high school sort of Spanish. Dialect-wise, you're going to have those changes, she said, but for the most part, it was very correct. Like that would be the same thing that we would see if the school district sent out a translated message in Spanish.
Okay, great. Good. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. I mean, dialects are definitely something that, you know, we have in all different languages. So a true translation with a dialect is going to be difficult. But, you know, when you need to get information home to your parents, this is a really quick and easy way to do it if you need to have that translation for them. Okay, so I'm going to go back over there. Where was I? Okay, so I was going into the insert area. So one of the neat things about G Suite is for example, I want to insert an image. I can go and upload it right from my computer if I have it saved, but it allows me to go to my drive and search for that image. It allows me to access my camera, URL, photos. But the cool thing is it will search the web right here for me. And when it's searching the web, it's searching from Google Images. So you see this pop up over here? So now I can search for, I'm going to search for a frog. And it will give me an image. When I click on that image, you'll see it selects it. And down here in my bottom right corner, if you see that, it gives me the option to just automatically insert that image. Now, my image goes in, it's large, and I can resize it just like I do in any of the other applications and programs I'm used to using. And then I also have, you know, I can right click on that image. I can link it, crop it, replace it, do all kinds of different things. I can put in alt text if I need to be ADA compliant and such. So in that insert, you're going to see all of these different things, you know, equations. If you're a math person, you have special characters, breaks, comments, so on and so forth. But the image, I think, is really a nice feature because I can go right out and search Google Images and never have to leave the document. That is the same for when we look at slides, the presentations. So when you think about these things, of course, each one of the applications are going to have their own toolbar that does specific things to that application, but many of them are going to be similar, okay? If I move over to format, it's just my typical formatting. Tools. You're gonna see some different things in here. So in tools, of course, spelling and grammar, suggestions and all of that. Explore, if I click on Explore, it's gonna go over here and it's gonna allow me to search related information and such. But a couple of the things that are in here, I can bring up a dictionary right away. There's a translate the document button right here. So if I have a document that someone has shared with me, or I've created my document, right? So now I've created that letter home, I can just hit translate the document and choose the language. So let me go and find a document that I have and see if I can translate it. Okay, let's take this document here. And let's go and translate this. I'm going to, whoops, hit the wrong button. Let's translate this document. And I'm going to choose a language, and I'll choose Spanish. I don't know, in hopes that maybe there's somebody on here that speaks Spanish. And so now I just choose translate. Now you see what it did here? If you noticed up in my tab, it was really quick, but here's my original document, right? Here it is. Now it opened up as a new document to translate it. You see that? So it translated that whole document for me in a matter of seconds. And I could now translate it again. Maybe I have, you know, multiple kids in my class that I need to translate things for. What if I want to translate this now to Arabic? Now it's going to translate it. And I can do that as many times as I need to. And it's always going to make a copy of this. But I think what you want to make sure, if you're translating, you see how the title changed. So here's I'm going up here in I'm just bouncing between tabs up here. I go up here and this is my original document, Common Sense. The translated document is translated copy of Common Sense PAIU. And the next one is translated copy of translated copy. So you see what's happening there. What I would suggest is once you translate that copy, in this case, I might say Spanish copy. You see that? And then this one is, we translated this to Arabic. Now look at, it translates it to Arabic. I certainly cannot read Arabic, so I can't tell you if this is a proper translation, but I would have to guess it's probably pretty close. Again, enough that people can get the gist of what it's all about. So it's pretty easy to do that translation of an entire document. So you can create your letters home or anything that you need to create. Or again, if somebody gives you a document and you can then translate it. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so I'm going to go back under tools. This is a really awesome tool within Google as G Suite as well. It's called voice typing. So all I need to do is go over here. I'm going to go here and I'm going to click to speak. And you're going to see that it is going to type everything that I'm saying via this voice typing tool, period. So I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute because to me, I think that is an awesome tool to have, to be able to just speak and it types for you. And I'd say it was pretty good. Now, one of the things you always want to make sure that you remember to do is if you are using that voice typing, you go back and review what you've typed because it may have misheard something and typed it the wrong way. But think about the ways that you can use that in your classroom. So that is again found under tools. Now I can close this or I can leave this up here. So I can go back to my document and just type regular typing. And then at any time, go right back over here and it will start to pick up my voice as soon as I hit that record button to start typing. Period. New line. And you see what it did? It put a period in and jumped it to the new line for me. Okay, so that's under tools. There's accessibility settings here. And I'm not going to go through, again, I'm not going to go through everything. Your preferences, they're just, I never really touch them. But there is accessibility settings. So you can turn on screen reader support for Braille. Okay, turn on collaborator announcements that it knows when people enter or exit your files if you are sharing a file. You can turn on screen magnifier support. Okay, this works, you'll see what it says, it works with a third-party magnifying software. So there's some accessibility settings there for you under tools. Okay. Now, I'm going to get to add-ons here in a minute. If I want to go over here to this area, because I'm going to kind of cover sharing again. I know I covered it in the first session if you were in that, but I think sharing is important, and it's one of those things that if you are not if you don't use G Suite or Google Drive often, sharing is what gets confusing for people. So I do want to just do a quick review of sharing. So any document, slideshow, presentation, spreadsheet, any of the applications, you're going to have this share button. And you can see that the share button will change based on what it looks like will change based on the sharing rights that are assigned to that particular document. So right now, if I roll over this, it's got a lock on it and it says private only to me. I'm going to click on that share button and I get a window popping up on my screen. In this window, I have a little advanced option down at the bottom. Up at the top, I have a get shareable link. And if I roll over get shareable link, it says copy the link and turn link sharing on. I also have this drop down right here. So I can enter someone's email address. I am going to choose, do I want that person to be able to edit my document? Because maybe they're a collaborator with me. We're sharing, creating a lesson plan, whatever it might be. I can have them only comment on the document. This might be something that you would use if you're doing some sort of peer reviewing. Or I want someone to give me feedback on something. I'm only going to give them commenting rights. Or I can give them viewing rights only. That means they cannot edit that document. But it does mean that they can make a copy of that document for themselves, and then they're able to edit it. It will not affect the original copy. It won't affect your copy of that document. So I can enter email addresses in here, and I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to enter this email address, and it's going to be someone, as you can see, I work for Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit. So I'm entering an email address to somebody who is outside of my organization. When I go to send this to her, it's going to ask me, it's going to give me a pop-up and ask me if I am sure I want to do that. But before I do that, you're going to see I can add a note. Please join me in this collaborative. And there's a checkbox here. It defaults to notify people. What that means is that person will receive an email. I can put as many emails as I want in here. All right, I can share this with 5 people by sending them an email. I'm just going to do this part of the sharing first, and then I'm going to come back in a minute. I'm going to send. You are sharing to this email address who is not in the G Suite organization that this item belongs to. Do I want to do that? Yes, I do. Boom, sent. Now, take a look up here at my share button. It has changed. Instead of the lock, it's telling me it's shared with 1 person. I can see that that person has now entered my document. You see that? And already down here, I can see that she is typing in this document. Okay? So that fast, that's how that happened. I'm going to go back to my sharing button because I want to talk about the shareable link for a moment. If I choose, so what this tells me now is this is shared with Tracy Fertali. And Tracy has editing rights to this document. If I go to get shareable link, it's going to open up and expand my window. Okay? When it expands my window, it tells me link sharing right now, as it stands, anyone at Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit with the link can view. That's what it defaults to. When I click this drop down, it's going to tell me anyone at Carbon Lehigh can comment or can edit. So do I want to do that? Or do I want to make this accessible to anyone I give the link to? Meaning I can copy the link and send it in an email to a large group. I can copy the link, send it home to my parents. I can copy the link and put it on my website, whatever I want to do. In order to do that, I need to go to the More button. When I do that, I have other options. I want to choose anyone with the link. Meaning I'm going to give somebody the link and they are going to be able to access this document. Now, what do I want them to be able to do? Do I want them to be able to view it, edit, or comment on it? I'm going to say edit right now. I'm going to save it. Copy the link. Here it is. Anyone with the link, you can see it, can edit. And I'm going to say I'm done. Now, just for the sake of you seeing how you do this, and I know I did this in All Things Google Drive last week, but I think it's very, very important to go over sharing because, again, this is what people get most confused about. So I am going to put this sharing, the link I just shared, in the chat. If you want to grab that link and jump in the document to show what people can, show what it looks like with multiple people in the doc, please jump on in there. Let's see, has anyone jumped in? Oh, sorry about that. I don't know if you can see that. I have the, yeah, I see one other person jumped in and they're showing as an anonymous, and that person could be typing in the document as well. So I see in here, somebody says, okay, Michelle says, just so you know, Allentown School District, only Allentown people can get the links. Anyone outside the server won't be able to do anything with them. So Michelle, are you saying you cannot choose that option that anyone with the link can access?
Correct. It's blocked. So like if I make something on my school account, I can only, no, you cannot say hi. I can only send it to people that are on my school account. I cannot, like last year in my grad class, I made something in my school account and didn't realize it was in my school account. And my professor, no matter how many times I tried to give her permission, could not see it. Now you can make things in your personal account and share it with your school account, and your school account can accept it. But the district has it blocked, at least as of now, that it can't go out. I don't know if they're going to change that because like, sending things to parents and whatnot in the future. But as of now, you can only send things to people with allentownsd.org email addresses.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, because I'm sure there's quite a number of people from Allentown that are on this in this session.
Not just to mention, we don't have a school. We're working without a school computer, so it's just making things difficult to switch back and forth between different Google accounts, your personal account and the school account, in order to get things completed for students to do. Because we have our own computers that we're working on, so.
Your personal account can send to your school account. So like I've already made something and realized I was in my personal account, and I've shared it with my school drive, and it's in there. It's just, it can't go backwards. It only goes one way.
Okay.
So if anything, sometimes I do more in my personal account because I know I can send it anywhere than I do in my school account, depending on what I'm doing.
Okay, so thank you for that. And Hess D, you asked where you could copy the link. I just put it right back in the chat again, okay? So you can grab that. I have another thing here in the chat.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's
I guess I don't understand what you mean by copy the link. Like, where do you copy it to so you can start typing on this document?
Copy that link and go to your Chrome, go to your browser, your internet browser, and paste it into the address bar.
Okay.
So you're going to copy the link, okay? And then you're going to go to a blank tab, and you're going to go up to your address bar. You're going to paste it in there and hit enter, and it's going to take you right to that document. Okay? And I see Bethany in here. You say, I was going to ask, I made a Google website from one of these classes. After hours of working on it, I went to share it with anyone with the link, and it wouldn't let me send it to anyone outside of Allentown. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I mean, that's a district decision as to, you know, that might be something that you want to talk to your supervisor or administrator about. And maybe maybe I could, the docs thing, but if you are creating a Google website, a Google site, that might be something that you want to bring up and see if that's something they can open up. But of course, again, that's a district decision, so. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here. We can see that there's multiple people in this document sharing this document. And if I roll over people, I can see, if they're logged in or if they are an anonymous, depending on where they're from and how they're set up. So now what I can, somebody says, I can't believe I actually did this. That's great. Hopefully you learned something. There's so much. I could really, truly be here forever. And we were already at 11:15 and I can't believe it. So that said, I want to kind of jump on over here for a minute because there's so many things. So just so in sharing, and I'm going to just have this up for a minute, with collaborating in documents, you can work together with colleagues, real-time sharing of your productivity. So think about when we were doing like Word and stuff. You'd have to work on a document. You'd have to save it. You'd have to attach it to an email. You'd have to send that document to the next person. That person would open the document. They'd have to save it. They'd have to make their changes. They'd have to save it again, then attach it to an email and send it back. So all of that back and forth, you're losing time. So it just saves us time and productivity. Project planning for students. They can be project planning together if they have a project assignment or they're working in groups, they're collaborating on assignments. So think about all of the different ways that just the power of the sharing is. Commenting and editing and revising, you can be soliciting ideas and input from each other. Students, honing their writing process. Peer editing, like think about that. You've got things that essays or papers that have been turned into you, and now you can turn those around and get them out to different students for peer editing. So, there's just so many things that you can do in that collaborative way. Here's some others, and I'm going to go, I might have to just do a Google Drives 3 so we could get into spreadsheets and slides. But here's some others, like sharing lesson plans and lesson plan folders, collaborative meeting notes, again, improving that writing process and peer reviewing, publishing student work to the web, translating documents like we looked at, tracking grades. We would use a spreadsheet for that. Signups, coordinating signups, that would be using Google Forms. Researching while writing, and these link to different presentation templates. I'm gonna be talking all over the place and really quickly here in these last 15 minutes because I want to be able to show you so many things, but it's tough. So I want to find something here. So in add-ons, like these are things, if I wanted to, and add-ons are a little difficult. I should probably just do a session on add-ons and extensions, if anybody would be interested in that. But just see some of the things that I have here in add-ons. You probably don't have these because you have to actually add them on with, by installing them. Okay, so I see a couple, yes. All right, so I'll do that. I'll set up an add-ons and extensions session and try to schedule that for next week. And Google Drive 3, okay. There's, like I said, there's so much. We could spend literally 2 full days on this stuff. But in the essence of time, I'm just gonna jump over here and I am going to go to, I wanna show you a new slide show. So you can see this is really truly like a PowerPoint. I like seeing all the stuff it has to offer. Oh, Marianne, there's so much. And believe it or not, there's so much I don't even know that I learn every day, something new. But here is a slide deck. So you'll see as soon as I open a new slide presentation over here on this right-hand side, it asks me, you know, to pick a theme. Do I want a theme? And there's also a button here to import a theme. If I want to import a theme, I could actually go to presentations that I've already done. And you'll see, like you see this presentation theme. I've been using that same theme for all of these remote presentations so that I can kind of keep them straight in my head. But I can go and say, I want to choose, I want to choose a theme that is already in here. I want to choose, I don't know, this theme. And I select it and it changes the theme to that. Wow, that's awfully bright. But I can change all different themes. But two of the theme things that I want to show you that are on here, just so you can see some of the options, like, so you can make things really neat for your classroom for presentations. So Slides Mania, these are all these free themes that you can do. Like, look at this. This is a daily activity or choice board for Google Slides. And all you have to do is you can use this theme and add it into your Google Drive. And then you can see, I download the Google Slides theme. And people have already created these. Now I want to use it. People have created these things and they're out there for the taking. They want to share them with you. So this is the slide deck now. And this is my theme, and I can edit this in any way I want. So the possibilities truly are endless when it comes to doing these kinds of things. I want to show you a slide deck that I did that is a shared right here. This is a shared note taking. So in the slide deck, I just created a slide. This is my main slide. And on that first slide, I say, grab a slide for each of your sessions and take notes. At the end of the day, you'll have access to everyone's notes and many different perspectives. So what I did was I created this slide deck, and this is what, look at just the template, was just this top section. So people just took a blank slide like this, add session title here. And people grabbed a slide and they added their notes. So think about ways you can use this in the classroom. You assign a slide, let's say, so we don't cause confusion, we assign a slide to each student by maybe a slide number or their name. And they are putting their notes or their project or whatever it might be on your, like, say they have different topics and they put this stuff on the slide deck, and now you've got a full presentation. You know, maybe each student is assigned a different character in a book, or each student is assigned a battle in the Civil War, and they can put all of these things up in a slide deck, and now it becomes a shared document and everybody has access to it. Do I see a question coming in, or? Oh no, okay, they're just talking about Allentown teachers being webinar addicts. So can you see the way this might be used as a slide deck can be used as a collaborative project in a classroom? Think about the different ways that you can do this. So that's just one example of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop because it is 23 after, and I want to open up questions, if anybody has. You can feel free to grab your mic or drop it in the chat, because I want to be able to answer anything you have. But again, I will make note that we want a add-on and extension session, right? And we also want a kind of a part 3, like just a continuation. You want all those slide deck designs. You can go get them. Slide Mania, and they are linked in the document that you have access to. Okay, they are linked in here. And then, well, we didn't even get to forums. So, and here's some resources, and they're all in here. So I'm going to take the URL and drop it in the chat so that you have it. Remember, it's case sensitive. Oops. So that's the URL for to get to the slide deck. And here are if you are an exit ticket for a certified teacher or an exit ticket for an IA. You would have to complete the exit ticket for this one. If whichever one you did, you complete the exit ticket for. Because the Act 48 is given like an hour at a time based on what you've done.
Diane, I would really appreciate the number 3 if you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I could do a 3 or 4 or 5.
Awesome. Yeah, this has been very, very helpful. Even if you know a little bit, you've been just adding so much and enhancing these things wonderfully. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I'm glad they're helping. And yes, the answer to you, Jeanette, is yes, you need to do one for each. You need to do an exit ticket for everything you attend, a separate one. I could do a different webinar on each of these tools, Marianne. And I know there is already one that was done on slides and I believe sites, and they are already up on our recordings page. So you can go and view those. And I can also try to schedule some other ones. Here's Google Forms is on here. And I want to say Google Slides was done as well. Well, good. I'm glad they're helpful for you, Diane. Or Danielle, I'm sorry, I misread that. Does anyone else have any other questions for the good of the order? No? Okay, well then, if not, I'll be here till 11:30. I don't want to start anything new again because there's so much. But if you want to duck out, please feel free. If you want to stay, or you think you have a question, that's fine too. A couple more minutes and we'll close it out. You are welcome.
Hi, it's Diane. Just a quick question.
Sure.
I was on your question and answer the other day. So if you download like a maze picture, is there a way for the student to draw on that?
The only way the only way you can do that is, let's see, I'm going to go. Well, if, I'm gonna just answer somebody here. Jeanette, if if you need Act 48, it's one exit ticket. If you don't need Act 48, it's the other exit ticket.
Okay.
Okay? Basically, if you have a PPID or not. All right, let me just grab a quick slide for you, Diane. And so if you wanted to, I'm going to take this and just make it a blank slide. So I can just right click on this. I can right click to format my slide any way I want. I just want it to be a blank slide. Okay.
Mhm.
And I want to insert an image. Okay. Let's just do this quickly. Search for a maze, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Oops. Maybe if I spelled it correctly, huh? Something like this. Yeah? Something like that?
Yes.
Now, if I wanted a student to type on this, I would have to insert a text box. And this is where the student would be able to then type.
Right, but I'm just saying like a drawing tool. Could they actually, like you would do on a pencil and paper?
Oh, no, there's really, I mean, not easily.
Okay, that's my, okay.
Yeah, Cami, but not, that's just the thing. That's going to be something that people have to download and use and kids to do that. You know what I mean? So,
All right,
now,
good to know.
what's that?
Good to know, thank you.
You're welcome.
I need to keep it simple.
Yep. Any other questions? Sorry about my dog. Yes, that's Fletcher. Anybody else have questions? No? Okay. Tracy saying hi, Fletcher. Do you want to see her? Or just, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Say hi. Let's get this off for a second.
Hi, Fletch.
I should probably stop recording.
Yeah.